Hello everyone, welcome back to Cliff Soccer Zone. Today we're going to talk about Inter Miami's victory in the second leg of the Concacaf Champions League over Sporting Kansas City. And for those who are not aware, the Concacaf Champions Cup is the North American equivalent of the UEFA Champions League. And Inter Miami had a vintage Barcelona-like performance, especially from at least three of their main ex-Barcelona players, Lionel Messi, Jordi Alba, and Luis Suarez, all had vintage performances for Miami, which coming off the back of a disappointing MLS opening week performance against New York City FC, where yes, they were able to come back and get a point against NYCFC, but they went down to 10 men pretty early in the match, and they not struggled, but had to exert a lot of energy to be able to get that singular point, with Lionel Messi getting 2 assists in the opening MLS weekend against New York City FC, and how in this second leg of the CONCACAF Champions Cup, yes, Inter Miami were already up 1-0 after Lionel Messi proved that he could perform on a cold and windy night in Kansas City, scoring the lone goal in the first leg. But as I mentioned, after the disappointing performance against New York City FC in the MLS season opener, Inter Miami were looking to have a more typical performance of the domination that they had, similar to the domination that they had last year, being the MLS Supporter Shield winners, finishing top which is the trophy given in MLS for the team that finishes the top team in the regular season. So going into breaking down this performance from Inter Miami, you start the game where you have Luis Suarez cross the ball into the box. Yes, it takes a somewhat of a slight deflection, but Suarez finds Lionel Messi running in from the top of the box. Lionel Messi beautifully chests the ball down, making the ball bounce, and then beautifully smashing the ball in the back of the net on the half volley with a powerful shot that I don't think any goalkeeper in the world, even prime Buffon, Gigi Buffon, is not saving that goal. But it was insane. It was an incredible goal. Vintage Barcelona with Suarez and Lionel Messi linking up. And the fact that Lionel Messi is still performing like this at this age is absolutely incredible. And in my opinion, why he's the greatest footballer of all time. And later then, immediately after that, not immediately after, but later in the first half, you have Lionel Messi with a beautiful through ball to his ex-Barcelona teammate Jordi Alba, who then takes the ball, runs across towards the end line, and essentially does what he typically did through a majority of his Barcelona career: slide the ball into the center of the box, finding Allende, who taps the ball in the back of the net, which again, another vintage Barcelona-like goal. Scoring there, the easy tap-in by Allende, that Jordi Alba, and then Messi with the pre-assist. Then, right before the first half ends, you have a long ball going to Luis Suarez, who expertly lets the ball bounce, and then beautifully, with a vintage Luis Suarez finish, while falling down, is able to get a foot to the ball and sneak it into the back of the net. And then Inter Miami take a 3-0 lead on the day and a 4-0 lead on aggregate right before halftime, which even effectively you could argue the tie was over after Allende's goal, but it was definitely over after that. And as I mentioned, Inter Miami needed to have a performance like this after the disappointing performance against New York City FC in the MLS season opener. So the thing is that one of the big things as well that I've noticed so far, it's only been 3 games, regular games that Inter Miami has played so far this season, but at least in my opinion, I'm not going to totally go too harsh on the New York City FC game with the defending, but since they went down to 10 men pretty early on, I think it was like the 21st minute that they went down to 10 men, and pretty much any team, even the best defending teams in the world, would struggle to keep a clean sheet or to play well defensively, being down to 10 men for that long. But overall, to me, we're talking the first leg in Kansas City as well as the second leg of the Concacaf Champions Cup against Sporting KC. Sporting KC were only really able to get the only goal that they scored was essentially a consolation goal that, yes, you could argue maybe the goal scorer could have been closed down, but it was a deflected shot. Busquets did close on the Sporting KC player who took the shot, but it takes a massive deflection and goes into the back of the net. And to be honest with you, when a ball takes a deflection like that, it's kind of hard to blame the goalkeeping or the defending. The only thing that you could maybe say is that Busquets maybe should have gotten to the goal scorer on Sporting KC quicker, but again, Busquets is not nearly as fast as he used to be. And again, he did eventually close down to him, but as I said, maybe he could have gotten there a fraction quicker, and then maybe Inter Miami leaves the game with a clean sheet. But again, the tie was already over. But as I mentioned, one of the big things that I've noticed with this Inter Miami team compared to last year is that the defending seems to improve, which, if you think about it perspective-wise, you're already talking about for the duration of the MLS regular season, the team that finished top in the regular season in both the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. So if they can improve the defending even more, which it seems like they have already so far in the games that they've played, who knows how well of a season that they could do, and potentially maybe even they could get over the hump and make a run in the MLS Cup after they were upset against Atlanta United in the early part of the MLS Cup playoffs, which was by far the biggest shock of the MLS Cup. And some would even say that is arguably in the history of the MLS Cup playoffs might be the biggest upset in MLS history. But if Inter Miami can continue to defend the way that they have been defending, and then obviously you're going to have Lionel Messi being Lionel Messi, and if you can keep Luis Suarez as healthy as possible, even though with all the reports that he can after games he could barely walk, and leading up to the games he can barely walk. He even mentioned in an interview he can't even play with his kids because he's concerned about being ready and being fit for every match game, and he's taking injections and stuff in that regard to make it so he can perform at a relatively high level, even if at his advanced age. If they can keep up, as well as the younger additions to the team that David Beckham and co. have brought, Jorge Mas as well, have brought into the Inter Miami squad, Inter Miami, even though we're already a dangerous team, maybe even an even more dangerous team, and are going to be real players to try to win both the CONCACAF Champions Cup, as well as they're going to have the Club World Cup that they're going to be in the opening game of. After winning the Supporters Cup Shield, they became eligible for the FIFA Club World Cup, which is taking place in the United States, and the opening game at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. They have a chance to at least make a run. I do not think they will win the Club World Cup with the likes of Real Madrid, Man City, a bunch of other top teams in that tournament, but they have a good chance in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Yes, they're going to have to play some tough Mexican teams there as well, who have historically dominated the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Given the way the scheduling works out, the Mexican teams tend to have more of an advantage in that tournament, but then you also have the fact that Inter Miami disappointingly went out very early in the MLS Cup playoffs, so they have a good chance of making a better run in that tournament, as well as you have both the Leagues Cup as well as the U.S. Open Cup. I have to double check which tournament of those they're exactly in, because not every MLS team is in both, but whichever tournament that they happen to be in, they have a good chance of winning that tournament as well. So essentially, as I said, it was a vintage Barcelona-like performance for Inter Miami, and if the defense can keep it up, this Inter Miami team, if you think they were dangerous last year, they're going to be even more dangerous this year. All right, and that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Just wanted to remind you guys as well, beyond just this YouTube channel, I have a X/Twitter account also that goes by at Cliff Soccer Zone. If you wanted to follow me, I'm going to try to keep up with both YouTube and Twitter as well. And I would appreciate it if you leave a like, you can leave a comment if you have any disagreements or you agree, whatever, or you just want to say hi, go ahead. And I would appreciate if you could interact with my content as I begin this YouTube journey. And as I mentioned the other day, I'm going to try to do daily uploads as much as possible. Obviously, there will be instances where I won't be able to, but I'm going to try to be as consistent as possible and give you guys daily content. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching the video, and take care.